Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast episode 671. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Corey Feinsod
Ahoy!
and Tony Korkanakis.
Yo, yo, yo.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome to the Gamecast 671. Mike is with family. I don't think we mentioned in the movie cast. He's family night, Halloween, trick-or-treating with his kid. So, totally cool. I hope he gets a lot of candy. Yeah.
His kid's like
This is
two.
the game. I know. That's why the
Isn't he?
parents get all the candy. Parents get all the candy. I do.
What's your
anything.
go-to candy, Jim?
Yeah, what is your go-to? Mine is. I still like Kit Kats. Actually,
Yeah, Kit Kats.
crazy enough, not to be boring. I still love the regular Hershey's chocolate bar. I don't know why. I know, but that's the reaction I always get. That's the reaction I always get.
God.
My favorite though is probably Kit Kat.
Mm.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna go like a bar, I'd say Twix would be my choice there. But I always like the little bag of Skittles. Those are.
Yeah, Skittles are always
That was
good.
good.
Ari's got a ton of those. She's got 17 bags of Skittles.
Oh,
So.
Jesus, you're
Oh, yeah.
counting them?
She counted them. That she made trades with kids to get more Skittles.
Nice.
So
She
you
was
gotta
wheeling
do-
and dealing. So.
Tony, what do you go for?
But Churro, who's basic? Is that my Hershey bar basic? Yeah.
Of course it is.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, Churro. Yeah. But yes, it's basic, but it's good. It's a Hershey Kisses, same chocolate. But go on, Tony, what's yours?
Reese's or
Reese's.
Snickers.
Reese's peanut butter cup or
Cup,
Reese's
cup,
Pieces?
cup.
Oh, let's go.
I mean,
okay,
pieces
yeah,
are good too.
Pieces.
I wouldn't.
I never liked Pieces. I always liked the cup. Peanut butter cup's great. I don't know what it is about Pieces. It's like it fools you into trying to be an M&M. It's not.
What?
Yeah, that's what I get from it. That's what I always got from Reese's
Fuck
Pieces.
M&Ms. Regular M&Ms are even more basic than Hershey's. If you like regular ass M&Ms,
No.
you're basic.
I'm not defending M&Ms. I'm just saying that Reese's Pieces tries to be M&Ms, and I don't like that. I don't know.
How does it try to be M&Ms? It's chocolate and peanut butter.
In a hard candy shell.
Okay. And
Before M&Ms did what they did with all the different stupid M&Ms,
They're
they
not
used.
stupid. A lot of them are pretty good.
I
or
like.
preferable, I would say.
every M&M is preferable to regular ass M&M.
I'm not saying regular. I was saying peanut M&Ms. You're right. I like peanut M&Ms.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
me too. But regular basic ass M&Ms are the fucking worst.
I'm not defending.
Like, they shouldn't
regular
even make
M&Ms
them, to be honest.
at all. All I'm saying is Reese's.
If
Pieces
I was in
are
charge-
of it.
That the cup is better than the pieces, though.
I
Yeah.
am telling you, yes, I am telling. Yes, we
Alright.
can all agree on that. I'm just saying that Reese's Pieces remind me of M&Ms, and you're saying M&Ms suck, and I'm like, yes,
Because it's chocolate on chocolate.
dude. Ugh. Okay, and ice cream, they're good. You're right, Churro. Ice cream, Reese's Pieces are just fine.
Mm.
Oh, regular M&Ms. I thought, okay, regular M&Ms.
That's the
I
only
don't know
time,
about
but
that.
it's like something
You know
else.
what though? In a McFlurry, M&M McFlurries, always pretty good.
Sure, but why wouldn't you have peanut M&Ms
That's true. That's even better.
or peanut
You're
butter
right.
M&Ms
Yeah, I don't know what
or
it
crispy
is.
M&Ms?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm not a
let's
fan
get
of
into
the
let's get into the
Christmas.
Gamecast. Let's get into the Gamecast. What do you guys been playing? I've been playing. I picked up Miles Morales on the Steam Deck, so I got to play Miles Morales. But sorry, my cat's trying to steal the other cat's food.
Why do you have
So
them both in there?
I don't know. I just threw a mouse pad at her. Yeah. So the Miles Morales was on sale last. It's still probably on sale. It's $29.99 for the game. I gotta say it's pretty beefy game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit! I got. You guys come take
Whoa,
take
no.
over. Take over.
The animals attack. We're
What?
watching Jim in his natural habitat.
At least let us watch the fucking show.
Yeah, no, I mean, as far as Miles Morales goes, I think it was really good. I guess mid game there, but I mean, obviously you've been playing Spider-Man too.
See,
It
I-
sounds
I have a hot take actually. I have a bit of a hot
Okay.
take, and I'll probably have to reiterate for when Jim comes back. But
What's
I'm
that?
actually glad I did not play Miles
Right, taking care
Morales
Oh, okay.
because, just to like interrupt. So I beat Spider-Man 2 over the weekend.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's still a good / great game. But I think I would feel less so if I had played Miles Morales when it came out. Because there's so much that just feels like this is more of the same. And that's not necessarily bad, right? But at the same time, I'm like, what was new, right? Like, what exactly was new?
I
And
mean,
like,
Miles aspect of things is for me. I mean,
Well, for Tony's, but too. I mean, he didn't
Yeah.
play Miles Morales.
yeah.
right, so like playing as Miles is fine, but like still it's like him and Peter might as well play almost the same. It's just different abilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I would argue the abilities really don't change up the gameplay, right? Like
It's the same loop. It's the Batman
it's the same loop, right?
Yeah, it's punch, heavy punch, dodge,
Yeah, so
web
like
sling. Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I'm not saying it's bad, but like by the end, I was definitely like, oh, I kind of wish they had done something up to change more. And I think enemy variety really had a lot to do with it too, because I was just like, oh, I expected, again, like more things to fight rather than just, hey, thug with a gun, big thug, and like robots. And I was just like, oh, I was like, okay.
I mean,
and I thought Miles would have like introduced more enemy variety types.
Well,
or
that was the
whatever.
problem with the first game. Like you said, it hasn't changed much. There wasn't a lot of variety. That was, I think, our gripe. If you go back to that episode, we talked about just the only flaw with that. The only flaw was repetitive missions, but enemy variety was a big problem in that game originally. So,
yeah, I would agree. I think that it's really the same type of enemies you're facing, and then you get to a boss that's somewhat unique.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, the boss fights are great. I love the boss fight. The one thing I do have to say about the boss fights is they need better pacing, or like, sorry, Corey, how far are you in the game right now? Without, I guess, spoiling for Jim too much.
I spray painted some stuff.
Oh, okay. I didn't mind that. It was fun, like a small diversion.
I don't know if you can, I think that's part like.
It's part
I
of the
think
story.
you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's something that you have to do. There's some like side quests and stuff, but I think because it says overall progress is like 30% or something.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I don't think that's like indication of where you actually are in the story or anything.
Yeah, like the bosses are fine, but like you'll see. To me, they all suffered from like, hey, you fought this boss, cool, and it's like you're gonna fight him like 3 or 4 or 5 times, and it's like, wait, what? Like, and it's not like a Nintendo thing or like a Bloodborne From Software thing where it's like where it's like, okay, well, okay, first phase was just like the tutorial, like these are the basic moves, and then now it's like beast mode or like demon mode or whatever, and it's just like, wait, like you're not changing up your moveset. I just fight you. again.
It's not like a new stage from him. It's not like a phase. It's like a phase. It's not
a real phase. You might be somewhere slightly different, but I was like, oh, I expected a little bit more. Most of the boss. I won't spoil anything. But my biggest gripe is the parry mechanic. I do not understand why they're like, yes, we need to introduce parrying in Spider-Man. I'm like, what? When have I ever seen Spider-Man parry anything in any medium? Like, he's just fast. Like, why wouldn't you just get out of the way? And the game's like, you can't dodge these attacks. They're too fast. So you have to parry them. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking? Like, how are you saying it's faster to parry something than to get out of the way? Like,
that doesn't sound great.
No, but that's my gripe, because like, I don't know. The thing is too is I just felt like there's so many buttons in this fucking game, and I had the exact issue I did with the Arkham games at the end, with like Arkham Knight or whatever.
Too much.
Where it's like so many button combos. I'm like, wait, which one am I supposed to press right now? Like,
I took a day off of Miles is like that, because Miles he's got a lot of moveset, and I feel like I'm like, wait, what button was I pressing to get the dive again? Oh, they do tricks in the air, and I'm like, how do I? What combination is this? They're throwing a lot at you in Miles, so I can't imagine what it was like in Spider-Man 2. I'm sure it's a little bit more even then, but a parry button. I don't like parrying as it is. That was the hardest thing in Elden Ring for me to do, because I never was good at parrying. Like, I would always do something else.
Yeah, well, I mean, parrying is easy in this game. Like, it's not From Software.
This is not a difficult game at all.
Okay.
But to me, it's just like, you have all these buttons on the controller, right? And you're limited because you're telling me I have to use 2 button combinations to do like at least 10 different moves, right? Why are you dedicating one entire button to just parry? Like, it just seems so weird to me. Like, I would have much preferred being like, hey, if you dodge into them and you have the right timing, then it's a parry, versus like, oh, we're just going to make it L1.
They still have, I mean, Churro, thanks for chiming in, by the way. Do they still have the perfect dodge, like where you actually get you get like bonus points, like you get better skill points.
You can skill, like, you gotta put skill points into getting those types of things also.
You
So
don't
it's
just
like,
have
oh,
perfect like if you time it perfectly, you don't get
right.
like
Well,
the
you have those things, but you can make them better and like gain bonuses or benefits for doing perfect dodges or whatever.
yeah.
But like as far as like changing it up and doing something different to what you were asking for, they're giving you something different, giving you a parry move that's like I haven't seen. It's just not necessarily the thing you would expect the Spider-Man character
I
to
mean,
do, I
yeah, but
suppose.
I don't think it meaningfully adds anything. Is what I'm
No,
saying.
because the
Yeah.
dodge is there. I mean, that's the same. Like you're doing the same motions for the same results almost, except like I mean, I would much rather. I agree. The parry move is kind of pointless because you should just be able to dodge and like either take their weapon away with your webs or
Yep.
whatever, or just dodge counter or whatever it is. Like you already have these moves. You're sliding between their legs and
Yeah.
you're like punching them in the back. It's like you have the moves already, so it's not
Mhm.
necessarily different. But yeah, I can understand. It does get repetitive a lot of times
Yeah.
because you're doing the same things over and over again. It's not necessarily
Yeah.
significantly different enough to make it
Right. And again, it
worth
sounds
it.
harsh because I love the game. Don't get me wrong. I love this game. It's very good.
Yeah.
It's just if I had played Miles Morales, I'd feel lesser about this game. But because I had waited between Spider-Man 1 and this game, I was like,
I
okay,
mean,
like this is good.
yeah, I could see that. I think I disagree just because I maybe because I played it early enough, Miles Morales. I don't
Well,
know.
I'm gonna go right into it. So I'll be a good
Yeah,
group because I'm gonna finish Miles, and then next month I'm getting the PS4.
because
It's
I
only gonna
think
be
it's
2 months.
more also
Not
like
this month. I was saying this month.
living in that world, like being able to be in this universe, being with these characters, and the Miles Morales story is so good. Like I thought that story was like on par, if not better, than the original Spider-Man Insomniac Spider-Man story. And so yeah, I want to be with these characters more. So it's not. I don't necessarily think it would have been a bad thing, but mechanically, potentially, I guess
Yeah,
it seems like
mechanic. Like I mean,
it's
the
not enough.
story. Yeah, obviously the story is
Not enough to do.
its own thing. I have grips with the story, but I can't really talk about it
Yep,
until
not yet.
Mm. Yeah,
until
that's
you guys get
definitely
further.
true.
But
Yeah.
like I was really again, it's mostly good. It's just like I was like
hmm
I don't like this, and I would have done things differently. But
Yeah.
here we go. Again, still very very good game. I did platinum it because by the time you
Quite
beat
easy, I
it
hear.
and all
Yeah.
the activities, it's like okay, I might as well just finish this up, get the most out of a $70 new video game and
Absolutely.
stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Um, the side
But
quests
yeah.
were better. I will say that.
mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Quest,
Good to
anything
hear.
that was a quest was good, but anything that was just
Yeah.
an activity, I was just like, please.
Right.
Why
Things
are you
that
making
pop
me
up, it's like, oh, there's another burglary happening.
do-" Yeah.
Or
I always hated
like,
those. That
hey,
was like the
let's
worst
take
part.
this photo up. Or like, what is like, you got to water plants at some point, and it's like, what?
Oh my god, I'm just like the thing is like I remember in the first one you could do that thing where like you could skip puzzles, and I was
Yes.
like, I don't want to do like I like in something like Resident Evil, I'd like the puzzles because it makes you
Mhm.
think, right? So I was
Yeah,
like,
and
oh,
it
in
kind of
Spider-Man 1, I
helps
didn't mind.
you get
Yeah.
more familiar with the move sets
Right.
and stuff.
But in this, I'm just like, this is so unrelated to anything else. Like
Mhm.
with the splicing, the gene, whatever. I'm just like, this is
Mhm.
stupid. And I had to do the last one in that, and it was just an exercise in like trial and error. Like I didn't feel smart for doing it. I was just like,
Right, and there's no fail, like there's no was it like not the reverse of benefit. Why can't I think of it?
Yeah.
It's like there's no risk, right? There's no risk to like just doing it over and over again. Like
Right.
yeah, just keep going until you make it. It's like great, thanks.
yeah. So I mean, the thing is like, obviously we're getting a third one, right? So if anything,
They're
I just
making too
hope
much
they,
money from this. Yeah.
yeah, I just hope they, you know, find something to meaningfully.
We may even get a Venom game too, from what they're saying.
I have comments on that, but I can't talk about it.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see that, but like, I don't know.
Mike
Yeah,
did not like flying through the rings.
That was the worst too, and you have to do it so many times. And every single time, I'm like, who thought this was fun?
Yeah.
It's like,
hey,
who
let's do
thought this
Superman
was
64.
fun? And that's
Let's do
exactly it. I
Superman
could not get
64.
it out of
Yeah.
my head. I'm like, I'm just playing a modernized Superman 64.
Yeah. Obviously, it's better, but I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, Miles has been really good. I'm actually surprised, like I said, how big that is. Like, I'm only 30% in so far. I've not played too much, obviously. It's like the game, like this Spider-Man 2 is only like 15 hours. I'm like 25 if you like do everything, right? Or even 20 maybe.
The story is
Yeah,
probably
but it's
Like
17,
a
18.
normal, like I would say, like a normal player is around 30 2 hours to like do everything that you in there.
Yeah. Isn't Miles
done.
is Miles is gonna be like 6, like 5 or 6, right? With everything.
Well, it's probably like 10. Like
Oh,
I would say.
it's
I
a
mean,
pretty good game. I mean, I'm shocked. Like as I was progressing the story, I've like watched the meter go up. I'm like, it's not really going up that much. So I'm like,
it's
it's
a, no,
bigger than I thought.
it's a
Yeah,
very meaty
yeah.
side game, or like
I mean, it justifies it not just being DLC, is what I'm saying. It actually
yeah,
works as being its own
absolutely.
thing.
For a $40
Um,
game, it's you get your
yeah,
money's worth.
yeah. So like I said, I picked it up. I have to say, on the Steam Deck, it runs very well. I was very impressed with what they pulled out of that little unit. Um, BG3 for me, probably just its optimization. That's based on the team size and the size of the game, obviously. It just never ran, didn't really look great. I could never really run it on my TV properly. But this game I could play on my TV, and it's not beautiful looking. It's like 720p, but it's playable. It's nice frame rates. It's great. So I'm pretty happy with how it runs.
Waited for your PS5.
Well, no, this is to fill the gap. It was on sale.
You don't have another game to fill the gap, Jim.
I have Cyberpunk. I could have played, yeah, Cyberpunk, but no, I got it. I want to play. Everybody's playing Spider-Man. I'm not. I wanted to play Spider-Man. So the hell with
There
it.
you go.
That's it.
I really do like the
Give me that
dynamic between the two, and like I think they did a great job of switching, and like you can choose to switch, and sometimes you have to switch. I think they did a great job with the dynamic between the two characters.
Yeah,
and-
that's definitely one of the bigger strong points of the game. I just the kind of parts in the game where like I actually dislike Peter in this, and it's like getting into spoiler territory, so I won't touch upon it. But I was like, man, Pete, like you're fucking up, bro. You're fucking up.
Yeah.
It's like,
I
Miles
would
deserves
agree
better.
with-
All right. You guys been playing anything else?
No.
Mm-mm.
All right. Yeah, I don't think I've played anything else myself. So, all right, let's talk some news. Well, we don't really have like the biggest thing, the only thing really this week, and it's the biggest thing. The layoffs of Bungie. So, layoffs at Sony altogether, but then there's specifically also the Bungie layoffs. It's all a drama unfolding before our eyes. So, Sony made cuts to workforce. What companies were affected? What was that list? I don't have that in front of me. It was Bungie, clearly. It was Naughty Dog, I thought had cut are making cuts, right?
Yep. Molecule. Media.
Molecule. Yep.
Media Molecule. Yeah.
Yep. I'm trying to find the list. Do you have anything? I don't have it. What am I looking for?
I thought
You posted. I'm looking for it right now. I think I just flipped past it. That's what happened. But yeah, where is it? There's the Schreier. Oh, there it is. I found it. So Connie Booth, Molecular Media, Naughty Dog, and Bungie. So they're doing layoffs. It was suggested to these companies to who they, I guess, told they need to like staff off. Didn't dictate who that was going to be. So Bungie unfortunately took that news and ran with it, and they're releasing like a lot of senior members of their groups. I mean, that have been there for over a decade. A lot of people. And as the news comes out, making it worse is, it basically they were fired at the end of the month, so they don't have to be covered. Apparently, they don't have to be covered by health insurance because it's extra day of health insurance.
Well, no. So that was clarified. They are getting insured through the what is it? The period of their
for their
Contract.
Okay.
Not contract, but you get severance. That's one thing.
So
they're all getting 3 months of severance, so that's better than nothing. So
Yeah,
they
it
will
is.
retain their benefits, their health benefits, and anything else besides health benefits is getting cut off.
Yeah.
So that's
let me read the
part.
So this news basically came out. Jason Schreier posted that originally, and then this guy from Forbes posted more. Layoff decisions came directly from Bungie management, not Sony. This is not about replacing Bungie employees with their own people. Many employee benefits, though not health insurance, only last until the end of the month. That was clarified. Many employees had unvested shares as a result of Sony's purchase. These shares would be received based on staying with the company, but those shares revert to Bungie if you leave or even if you're fired, which I find is crazy that that's true. So they lose their shares, and apparently, obviously, it's part of a wider cut for Sony, obviously. And there's the severance news right there. And then let's see, many Bungie employees that were fired found out in the morning when they were locked out of services, logins, and email access revoked. Others who instead found out in meetings were told not to tell team members themselves, as teams would be told by other means. Many employees weren't able to say goodbye to or exchange contacts. Many team managers were not told at all about who on their team was being laid off, and only found out as it happened. Crazy.
Yeah.
So they laid off around 100 people.
Yeah, so that's 8-ish%, and that, who knows how much that really is, because, I mean, unless that's coming from upper management, I mean, I would think it's, whatever number you hear is probably going to be less than the actual reality of it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, so first of all, things are bad in Sony-land, and I don't know why it is, because they're having such a good generation. They're coming off a great generation. The PS4 did amazing. The PS5 is doing amazing. And yet they're like, hey, we need to make cuts at fucking all our studios. And it's like...
Well, if you look at these numbers, I mean, what are they, 45% below projections?
But that's just Bungie. That's just Bungie. And it's not It's not year over year. It's just what they had said, what the managers and above at Bungie projected they would be for this year is down 45%. That's not year over year. It's just, hey, for 2023, we expect to do this much by the half-year mark or whatever like that. And they're below that by 45%.
So who lost their jobs in management because they fucked that up?
We don't know. And probably not anybody.
Yeah.
But so we'll get to it. So first of all, things at Sony-land are not good. And again, I don't know why, because they're having a fantastic generation. Probably ties into why we saw that massive price hike for PlayStation Plus subscriptions, 2 months ago or whatever it was, because that was out of the blue. It was like, and it was significant. It was like 30%. It's like, what? And they're not giving us anything in return. It was just like, what the fuck?
Is maybe this boiling down to like a large purchase? Are they going to try to buy somebody?
No,
is that what
they bought Bungie, $3.5 billion.
True. Yeah, it's true.
And what have they done? And they've not gotten anything back from that.
No.
Well, it just boggles my mind about how they could sell so many systems, so many video games.
They're taking losses on their systems, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
They are the market leader, console leader right now for system hardware sales and like just overall sales, I thought. But
they're selling everything at a loss is the reason.
What's their expenses then? That's insane.
Right, and that's what it is. So that's a huge red flag to me, and I wouldn't be surprised to see. Oh, and I just wouldn't be surprised to see more Sony studio cuts. Like, I would not be surprised Sony Santa Monica was next.
Yeah, and I would see. I think they're gonna start trying to pump out like less of these high quality AAA games, such as like God of War, Spider-Man, and Horizon. We're gonna probably see a lot more of the free to play style mobile any games as a service.
They still want that. They want that.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what they said. Like they even said it 2 years ago, and I remember saying it. And Mike was like, "Well, I don't like that," because we were on that podcast together. And I remember Mike saying, "Like, I don't like it." I was like, "Well, that's the future that Jim Ryan wants you to have, Mike." And look who's gone now, right? Jim Ryan. Because
you're spending $200 million on a game. Like that's the other thing. It's like Spider-Man's great, but it's got how much it's got to sell before it's actually making money.
Yeah,
right.
That's the problem.
And especially because like I've said this before, but like when you make these tentpole releases like Horizon, God of War, Spider-Man, whatever, and it was leaked in the FTC, Microsoft case, that these budgets for these games are $200 million. Right? Yeah. That is insane. Nobody else can afford that. Nobody else in the business, in the industry, can afford to pump $200 million in a game and only sell like 10 to 20 million copies. And don't get me wrong, 10 to 20 million copies is a fucking shit ton.
Right back.
But when you're talking about a $200 million budget game, the math does not work out.
And you're just getting to $70 now, right?
Yeah, so you're just getting to $70 now. Like the math does not add up. So that's Sony-land. We could talk about that in the upcoming months and years. As for Bungie specifically, in my head, what it sounds like happened was Sony came to Bungie and was like, yo, you guys need to cut. You need to cut this amount. Figure it out. Right? We're not going to tell you how to run your studio. We can't identify who you can replace and let go and whatever. You figure it out, right?
Yeah.
And so now Bungie...
Get to this number by end of October.
Yep. And the Bungie executives were like, okay, Daddy Sony, we'll be right on that. And so that's why we saw all these senior people laid off. We saw, veterans of, I think, what's his name? The composer of like 30 years.
Yeah.
How do you let your lead composer of 30 years just, fuck you, man, get out of here?
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely insane to me. And then all this that we're hearing about the way it was done just sounds so scummy. Like, oh, don't talk about it. You're finding out the day of. You're locked out. You can't even talk to other employees to get contact information. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck you. Get out. And on top of all that, when Sony bought us a year and a half ago for $4 billion, basically, I think $1 billion of that was dedicated to make sure talent retained for 4 years, that they didn't just jump ship, right? Mm-hmm. Because that was the Sony wanted their games as games as a service, abilities and skills and experience to help their other studios. So like, hey, $1 billion of that is going to be so you guys don't fucking leave, right? So now these ventured bonuses that all these employees were going to get, they're not getting, and it goes straight back to Bungie leadership.
Yeah, that's the worst part about it.
Like, that is so scummy, and to me, this kind of cements it, because remember, when Sony bought Bungie, I was like, okay, Bungie, how do you go from, we don't want to be owned anymore, right? We don't want to be owned by Microsoft. Fuck Microsoft. Fuck being owned. We want to be independent. So it's like, all right, well, we'll let you guys go. We'll, you let you guys buy yourselves out of this. Okay. Yeah, we're independent. Woo! We're going to sign a 10-year deal with Activision Blizzard King now? What? What the fuck are you doing? Right? Yeah. And then after all of that, Activision Blizzard King let them buy out their contract and the Destiny IP and said, all right, whatever. You guys want to buy out the Destiny IP, you want to get out early. Okay, fine. We'll let you buy your way out of this one. And Bungie's like, yeah, we fucking did it. We're free. And then they fucking sold out to Sony.
I mean, it's worse than what Respawn did. Respawn did similar things.
Absolutely worse. Fuck Bungie leadership. Fuck Bungie leadership. Not the base employees. Want to make sure that's clear. The owners and executives of Bungie can straight up get fucked.
I have no arguments there. It's pretty shitty what they've done. Especially that stock thing is just so fucking shitty. It's ridiculous.
Also, Final Shape got delayed, so.
And Final Shape's delayed because of it.
And Marathon's getting delayed.
And Marathon, and their new IP, yeah. So if that's even makes that, it's not gonna make that.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they owe Tencent a project. I could be wrong on that, but I could have sworn they got some Tencent money before they got bought out by Sony.
They got like $30 million or something. Yeah, I don't know, something like that.
Something absurd. And they built like a new headquarters too during the pandemic. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and then everyone was working from home, and now like, well, you gotta come back. It's like, wait, you were doing fine where we were.
Yeah.
But no, come back.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about where they are now today, as opposed to what they were shooting for. And I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't.
I have a visitor.
So, yeah. So I don't know. It's not a great. It's terrible. More news is gonna come out this week, I'm sure, about it.
It's terrible. Like, and the thing is, this like spurred on a lot of people. Like, I think one outlet did the stats. And just this year alone, it's over like 6,000 people that got let go from the game industry. Mm. And every single time we talk about this, every single time I bring it up, those people, all 6,000 of those people would be lucky to go right back into the game industry. But the reality is, most of the, like half of them, I would probably say, would probably go back to the game industry. And the other half are probably going to be like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm sick and tired of going from company to company, being at the whims and mercy of executives, having to uproot your family, your houses. Yeah. Right? Because a lot of them do not allow you to work from home. So imagine going to like one of the most expensive states and cities to live in, California, right? And working for one of these companies, and then you get laid off like in 2 years. What are you supposed to do? Like pick up and move again, or go to work for one of the other shitty companies that resides in that city? Like, you're just fucked. So more and more people are just going to leave this fucking industry. And that's the opposite of what we need.
Absolutely. That's why this is an industry that does need a union.
Desperately.
I'm not saying union. Like I said before, unions don't make sense everywhere, but unions do make sense for certain things, and this is one of those places that does. So we'll see what they can get done from just this year alone, like you said, Fallout from this year has been insane. So I don't know.
Like I honestly just don't like imagine being somebody at Bungie now and like being like, cool,
Yeah.
I just saw 10% of my friends just fucking
The next day they're gone. Yeah,
leave,
gone.
and now you're expected to do the same amount of work, if not more, right, to make up for those people,
You have to take on their work
and take
You're
on their
doing more.
work and expect
Yeah.
to make a great video game, right?
Yeah, I don't know how that
Yep.
it makes sense to me. To be honest with you, it's stupid logic. Stupid logic is what it is. It's money logic. It's executive logic. That's it. Executive logic. I don't know. I just feel like this is interesting. I think the other thing, like besides Bungie aside, like you said, Sony's financial situation. What is causing? Like what is how do they let themselves get to that point, selling things at a loss like this? That's not a good business model. So while they may have the great system, and I for one am looking forward to the slim model, that's not good. So that needs to get fixed. But
I mean, I think it just comes back to the reality of you can't, right? Like, what do I want to say? Like let's take a look at PS3, right? And Uncharted, right? Because Uncharted was one of the first brand new IPs for the PlayStation 3 that really put Naughty Dog on the map, right?
Sure.
And that came out, and remember, PS3 had a bad start, like an awful start, right?
Horrible start. Yeah.
And Uncharted 1 was one of the first, like, oh shit, this is a must-have. This is a must-play if you have PlayStation 3, right?
Yeah.
But I think it was Uncharted 2 was like, oh shit, like everybody needs to play this game, right?
Mm-hmm. Uncharted 2 was the perfect form. Yeah.
And I think unfortunately Sony got drunk on this like Western appeal, like my joke with the whole Sony formula, whatever, right? Where it's like third person action story narrative, high fidelity graphics, realistic, whatever, pushing the envelope for that kind of stuff. Which, don't get me wrong, is great. As a consumer, it's amazing. But it's not sustainable, right? Because, like, we look at the transition from Uncharted, right, 1, to Uncharted, like, 4 was the last one? And stuff like that. And, like, they pumped out 2 Uncharteds for PlayStation 3, right? And Uncharted 3 and 4 was on PS4, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I want to say 3 was on.
3 was on both, I thought.
Oh, was it a cross-gen game? Okay.
I want to say that. I don't remember though, but I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
It killed my system. Was that the game that killed my system? That was
Last of Us.
That's Last of Us,
right? But then you look at Last of Us, right? Last of Us 1 was on PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3. It got ported. Yeah. But then Last of Us 2 on PS4, right? So now we're down to one a generation. Like, that is a long time, right? And the thing is, all that cost is going up exponentially, right? Because you don't have the same staff working on Last of Us 3 that you did for Last of Us 1. It probably increased in scope by, 3 times the amount, I would imagine? At least?
More. Yeah,
right?
At least, yeah. Go on. Yeah.
But the scale isn't changing, right? You're going to sell that 10 to 20 million range at even now at the $70 price point. That doesn't significantly change the needle. When you're spending $200 million on a video game, it just doesn't add up. And I think Sony finally looked at the numbers like, oh shit.
Yeah, we had, like I said, we had shit. That's the thing. Like, this is something that should have happened before. Games previously in or earlier generations were more expensive than $70, some of them. And does that mean that they can do an $80 release for a certain game if it costs them? You know what I mean? Can you do something like that? Do you have to have a standard $69.99 for a game? Or can you just start free marketing $100 for a game?
So that's the thing. Is like we have 70 for the baseline. You have to have 70 because that's probably the threshold for a lot of casual consumers. But for the hardcore enthusiasts, which the first parties tend to have a lot of, you have like the deluxe editions and you have the collector's editions. So like I think the digital deluxe edition was $10 more for Spider-Man 2, for example, right? And the collector's was like $200, I think, or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, 19 inches of Venom.
19 inches of Venom. Thank you. Yeah. And we looked at Starfield. Starfield had a $30 premium early access, $100 version of Starfield, right? So you can do things to change those numbers, but still, like, you cannot spend $200 million on a video game and then just be like, hey, we're going to sell like 10 to 20 million units of this.
Yeah.
Like, it's
And then the other problem is when you do take chances on games that are not as expensive, they flop completely and
Right.
they don't do anything.
Yeah.
right,
the problem.
and that's what I'm saying is like that's what I think. Unfortunately, Sony has trained the majority of their fan base to expect like Last of Us, God of War, Horizon, like Ghosts of Tsushima, Spider-Man. Like they're all the like same in terms of like high fidelity, like focus on graphics, focus on quality story, quality writing, a lot of voice acting. Voice acting is very expensive when you're doing worldwide releases and have to dub it in a dozen different languages and stuff like that.
Tons of languages. Yeah, tons of languages. Yeah.
So when you're doing that, now when you have like an idea for something like, I don't know, what was the last smaller Sony game? Little Big Planet or Dreams or whatever. Like the majority of your audience doesn't care because they're like, what the fuck is this? This isn't Spider-Man. Where's the fuck is Spider-Man 3? Where's Ghost of Tsushima 2? Right?
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's so we have two extremes. We have Microsoft who's doing shit for the nothing, and then we have Sony who's overspending on too much shit, too much stuff, too much gold. So too much gold from Sony, and that's gonna, like you said, gonna slow down their first party releases for these big games. And meanwhile, we have Microsoft who needs to up their game and release a couple of these because it's feast or famine. So pick your poison. But one's great. You can live a great life with PS5. I'm looking forward to getting one. But it's causing a problem for the company. And the other one is a company that has tons of money that just buys everything but doesn't give us any games.
All right. I mean, the whole thing is the industry really just grew too quickly, and I think, due to the arms race of Sony and Microsoft, they just kind of escalated things to the point where it was like, it's just not sustainable because now, I mean, take for example Tomb Raider, right? The Tomb Raider reboot, right? Yeah. That's sold millions of copies, and in a previous world, that would have been fantastic. That would have been holy shit. Oh, yeah, Tomb Raider's never sold better. And then Square was like, it didn't meet results because why? They had to fucking spend so much money making the game to get to that quality tier. Because people were expecting like an Uncharted experience, right? They needed that level of visual fidelity, the realism, the voice acting and stuff like that. And they just couldn't. They were like, "Can't do it, guys. We're done. You got the trilogy. Be happy. Be thankful."
Yeah. So I don't know.
It's just not looking good. I mean, it's unfortunate too because in a year we have the most. I think I read the statistic somewhere. The most 90+ rated games in a year ever. Mm-hmm. We're also dealing with the most layoffs ever. And that's just fucking sad to me, man. That is so sad.
Yeah. It's a matter of what's the fix.
Right? Because, like, I love myself some video games, but, like, like, is it worth people's livelihoods? Is it worth... the blood cost? Like, the real life human cost, right?
The toll it takes on the soul, you could say.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
Right. We go back to Jason Schreier's book yet again. Like, when you hear the stories, and I think Bungie, right, is included in that first or second book, right?
It's in the first one.
First book. Yeah. Where you just listen to that, and it's just like, holy shit, man. Like, why is it so hard for this industry to be stable, right? And we're not done. And,
within that book, a lot of those studios and games that they're focused on are people that came off of getting laid off or having to like make it their own company or taking a shot because like, hey, if we don't make this game successful, we are done. Like it's all the eggs in their basket kind of thing. All of our life savings into this one thing.
Yep.
So it's pretty crazy. It's feast or famine now.
It's insane. And like, I mean, even early, like the scales are so fucked up, man. Like Callisto Protocol, remember? Mm-hmm. Like Callisto Protocol on paper should have been great. Like, hey, Spiritual to Dead Space looks great. It had some issues at launch, I understand. But, I think it sold 2 million copies, and that still wasn't enough. It still wasn't enough for the publisher. I mean,
it's the budgets. The budgets also are out of control.
Exactly. That's insane. Like a new IP horror game launching in January sold 2 million copies. That should be something that should be celebrated, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you're like a new IP horror game just sold 2 million copies. I'd be like, holy shit, man. Great for them. We're obviously getting a sequel, right? No.
Yeah. All right.
And the
We're
guy
gonna-
who created the studio to make this game
Left.
quit.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's gonna wrap up this episode of the Gamecast, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Once again, we're live on Twitch on Tuesday nights. Join us live. YouTube the following day. Subscribe to both channels to get notified when we go live. We appreciate it. Oh, and leave us a comment. Join us live. Comment on our. We'll talk back to you here. Give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you guys next week. We are out.
Later.